Today's video is all about Azami, one trick for every ranked map, from one-way angles to Azami setups, hiding spots and spawn peaks. We've got it all in today's video, so let's dive in and get started. So the first trick we're going to take a look at here is over on Consulate on the top floor inside the side office. Now what you can do here is you can impact the corner desk behind the two couches, and you can place a Kiba barrier on the leg of the couch and you'll be able to vault over it inside the hiding spot. Now this is such a good spot because so many people coming up yellow stairs or dropping the skylight will come through this room heading towards the bomb site and they'll have no idea you're in behind the couch, and you can jump up and get some easy picks. Now, once you're inside the spot, I will say the only way to get back out is by using another Kiba barrier to get that vault prompt out, so just a side note to keep in mind. And moving on to layer for this next one, this is a really good cover angle for setting up and controlling that R6 room. So what you need to do here is just by jumping up on top of that little counter and placing a Kiba barrier on that beam on the ceiling exactly where I've pinpointed on screen, and then adding a second one about halfway down that Kiba barrier. It will allow for just a perfect angle onto that back door. You'll be able to see their legs as they're coming in and they won't be able to see you at all. Now you can extend onto this by adding another Kiba barrier onto the side of the panel, as you can see on screen, and this will give you some extra cover for anyone coming in the door to the left, and of course that same door at the back of the room. Now you'll see it from the other perspective how good this is for coverage, and it will help you secure the round. Moving on to Clubhouse for this next one, and this is a really sick spawn peak to use. Of course, kitchen is a high traffic area, so a lot of people will be spawning out in that construction site heading over towards kitchen. So what you need to do is by placing a Kiba barrier on the countertop exactly where I've shown on screen, you can run and vault up on top of it. Now if you break a small section of the window, you'll be able to see all the way out towards that back building where the spawn is. Now people will be running out of there and you can pre-fire it and instantly get some early picks in the round. You can see the bullets on the wall as I'm showing here outside near the spawn point. Moving on over onto Night Haven for this next one. Now this is one of my favorite hiding spots in the game. It is such a good spot if you set it up right, but this is like a whole setup for the IT room. So if you break those monitors and make sure to get the boxes and the coats, you'll be able to place a Kiba barrier right next to the bolt where I've pinpointed, and then if you jump up onto the counter, you'll be able to vault over that barrier up on top of the shelf. Now you can place another Kiba barrier on the back of that server right there on the wall, and you'll be able to use that as extra coverage when you're up inside the spot. You can also place a third Kiba barrier on the shelving unit over to the left, and if you wanted to have a teammate sitting behind that Kiba barrier and another one sitting up on the shelf, this will allow for extremely good hold of IT room. Now once you've vaulted up on top of this spot, you can place a final Kiba barrier on the back side of the shelf, which gives you even more coverage, and they will have no idea you're up in this spot and you can get some easy picks. Moving on to Oregon for this next one, and it's located on the top floor inside the dorms. Now this is like a floor trick Kiba barrier that you can use right next to that picture on the wall where the letter T is. If you look straight down onto the floor from there and shoot a hole in the floor, you can place a Kiba barrier on the bottom part of the wall on the floor below. Now this will create a small Kiba barrier, and then you can add another one onto this to create a perfect cover spot for you to watch that trophy door. And this is such a good Kiba barrier. I'd advise you to try it out. Now to add on to this, you could just create another couple of Kiba barriers on site, one of which inside the kids dorm. If you place one on the bottom right corner of the leg, you'll be able to vault inside the bunk bed and sit behind the bomb chassis. Now once you're in behind here, you can use it to watch anyone trying to come in that rotate to the right, or anyone who's breaking open that big window. You can use that chassis as coverage and get some picks in the round. Moving on to Coastline for this next one, and it's located on the top floor billiards and hookah site. Now this is another one of those floor trick angles that you can create with a Kiba barrier. So what you do is right in front of the door here, you shoot exactly where I pinpointed on the floor, and you can place a Kiba barrier on that little light beam on the floor below. Again, it will create that small barrier, and then you can add another one onto this to create some really good coverage for anyone coming up that cool vibe stairs or anyone coming down the hallway from VIP. Now again, on this site, if you add a Kiba barrier inside hookah to cover yourself on that window, and then a final one on the side of the pool table for anyone coming in that aquarium door, it'll give you all the coverage you need to keep safe and secure the round. Moving on over onto Cafe for this next one, and this is one of my favorite spawn peaks at the moment. It's located on the midpoint of the white stairs. Now what you need to do is just break open the window, and then if you place a Kiba barrier on the wire coils on the floor exactly on the edge where I've pinpointed, you'll be able to vault over the barrier up on top of the small little generator. Now you need to stand on top of the wires, not on the generator, and you can run and get up on top of the window frame. Now once you've run onto the window frame, make sure you're crouching right as you reach the window, so you'll get up on top of it and you can catch anyone coming off of that spawn either from the right side or anyone coming up from the front of the building and rappelling up onto the side. And moving on to Villa for this next one, this spot has been so successful for me, one of my favorite spots as well alongside Night Haven. Now this one is just where you place a Kiba barrier on the top right hand corner of the fireplace, and if you stand on the desk right by the chair, you'll get a vault prompt up on top of the mantelpiece. And once you're up here, for anyone coming in from the study door, they'll have no idea you're sitting up there, and you can get some easy picks, or you can lay prone and break a small hole in the top of the door, and anyone coming down from that ruins spawn, you can get some easy picks. Moving on to Canal for this next one, and this is like a one-way angle. This is a super strong position to use Azami on. Now what you need to do here is by placing a Kiba barrier on the beam exactly where I've pinpointed, and again, just like on layer, if you add a second one around halfway down the barrier, it will create a one-way angle from anyone coming from the printer side. They will not be able to see you, but you'll be able to see their legs, and you'll be able to pick them off and keep control of that area. Now, in order to cover yourself from anyone who's opening up that main wall, you should also place a Kiba barrier on the side of the bomb chassis. As you can see here, it is important to make sure that you put that Kiba barrier there, and you can also actually stand up on top of the control panels and see over the top of that Kiba barrier and get some picks on that main wall. Moving on to Bank for this next one, located down in the basement level. This one was used in the Pro League, so this is a really strong little setup here, located for CCTV room. So if you place a Kiba barrier on the back of the bomb chassis, just like I've done here, and if you impact the wall into garage, and you can place another Kiba barrier on the red hall door frame, this will stop anyone looking down through the hatch, and you can keep yourself a little bit more protected with that Kiba barrier. Now the final part to this is that if you go through the rotate that you made into garage and you look back through and make a hole in the wall, you'll be able to get a small pixel angle just alongside the Kiba barrier on the bomb chassis onto that main wall in CC. Now this will allow you to stop anyone trying to get that default plant down exactly where I've pinpointed on screen. Now onto Chalet for this next one, located on the basement level wine cellar. Just a simple setup, a really strong one that is used quite often. Placing a Kiba barrier on the side of that table will give you a small little pixel angle onto that door for anyone coming into trench and trying to get the walls open. Now the second one is for that blue coverage. If you put it on the wooden beam, this will give you that one-way angle for anyone coming down that stairs. They will not be able to see you, but you'll be able to see their legs. Now the final Kiba barrier here is on the other side of the wine cellar, just next to that boiler wall. If you place a Kiba barrier on the side of the little wine cabinet, you'll be able to get some extra coverage onto anyone coming in towards that door. Now you can also make a couple of punch holes in the bottom right of the wall, and this will give you a pixel angle onto that hallway down to Big Garage. Moving on to border for this next one, and it's located on the second floor inside offices. Now this is like a one-way pixel angle onto east staircase. If you reinforce those two left walls and impact the one on the right, and then place a keyba bar exactly where I pinpointed on screen, you'll have a small little gap in the desk and the keyba barrier to see down onto east stairs. This is such a good spot for, especially for people pushing up that stairs, trying to get down that hallway towards office's door. You can catch them off guard and get some easy picks. Now on to Outback for this next one. This is a little vault spot that you can get onto to watch that window for anyone coming off that spawn over by garage and pushing up on top of that railing and coming up the ramp. Now what you can do here is by placing a keyba barrier on the side of the window frame exactly where I pinpointed, you can run and vault up on top of the water cooler. Now what you can do is shoot a hole in the soft wall, and you can actually shoot open the top of the window, and as people are coming up that ramp from the spawn, you can get some early picks. Moving on to skyscraper for this one, and this one's located in lounge on the minibar. Now this is such a sick Azami that you can use. So by placing a keyba barrier on the front of it exactly where I've pinpointed, and then you have to vault up on top of the minibar. Now be careful with vaulting up on this because you might vault over it and break the keyba barrier. So find the sweet spot exactly where I've pinpointed and you'll be able to vault up on top of it. Now once you stand up here, make sure to break some of the bottles on the shelf, and if you place a second keyba barrier, it'll actually block the top of the shelf and completely protect you behind the wall, and you have this really sick angle all the way down the hallway towards the VIP office, and you can keep complete control and they will not be able to shoot you. It's completely a one-way angle and you can get some easy picks. Onto Emerald Plains for this next one. This is just a good setup for using on the administration site. If you place a keyba barrier on the top of the door, the little small half wall and the keyba barrier will work together to give you a really nice angle outside of that door frame, and they will not be able to hit you. The same goes for the other door. The little half wall and the keyba barrier on the top of the door again will protect you, and they will find it extremely difficult to get any shots into the site, and you have complete protection from any pushing attackers. Now the final one here is for the A bomb chassis. Place it on the side of the bomb chassis and then jump up onto the admin table and run across the filing cabinets, and you'll be able to see over the top of the bomb and over the keyba barrier onto that back doorway out into the hallway. Moving on to theme park for this last trick, where we've covered pretty much every single rank map in the game. This one is located inside the throne room bomb sites over in the corner next to the furnace. If you place a keyba barrier on the little small wall on the bottom and then place a second one on top of the door into split, you can jump up on the little bench in the back and you have a complete clear coverage angle of anyone pushing into split. This is such a strong holding position and I advise you to try it out. Now I do have another one over on the far side, on the throne side. If you place a keyba barrier on the bottom of the crate exactly where I've pinpointed on screen, this will give you a nice coverage angle for anyone coming in that split door on the left or coming in the door from Dragon. Now the final keyba barrier is such a strong one. If you place it on the leg of the throne, it will give you a small pixel angle onto that split door and you'll be completely protected by the barrier and you can get some picks and secure the round. So that is it for the video, guys. If you want to drop down into the comment section and let us know what else you would like to see on the channel tricks wise, and we will do our best to bring it to you. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we upload our next video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.